Hey everybody, it is Sarah Ayler with Softlex Company, and we have the beautiful, the amazing, the talented Cassandra Spicer here with us. How are you doing today,
Thank you
Cassandra?
so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. You are too kind, and I am well. Just trying to, the normal like tech jitters of getting everything set up for these live videos.
I know. Yeah, I mean, for everybody out there, not one bead person I know is a technology genius. We are all doing it on the fly the best way we can, but none of us really, really love it. Like, it's real, the technology part. I think we like the connection part, but the technology part is just no,
Yeah.
not good.
And I mean, I think in all fairness, a lot of people really got just thrown in head first 2 years ago and have just been like kind of trying to keep their heads above water ever since.
Right, especially if you're a small bead store owner like you are, Cassandra, because it's a big challenge when the pandemic started to have everything closed down. You're used to having customers come in the store, and all of a sudden you have to sort of rearrange everything and how you're operating. So I imagine that was a
Yeah.
big change for you.
Definitely. I remember like the first live video I did when we knew like just days before that we were going to have to close for business. And somebody suggested like, oh, you should show like just do like a walkthrough of all the products you carry so that people know what to ask for. And I was like, that's a great idea because at the time I had a very limited website. So
Mhm.
I walked through showing everybody and started talking about why I was doing it. And I mean, just started like nodding on myself and sobbing on camera because at the time, like,
It's a
no
lot.
one just really knew how long it was going to last for and like what kind of effect it would have on our businesses when, so much of our, customers were still in person at the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was,
And you know
it
what
was
I
a
think?
real chaotic.
Yeah, and you know what I think about bead store owners is they're so busy. When you're a bead store owner, a lot of times I see you're the cashier, you're the purchaser, you're the person that's setting up the window, like you're doing all of it. And I think a lot of bead stores I noticed hadn't set up websites, probably just the lack of time, because you're so focused
Oh,
on your space
absolutely.
and your local customer. So I think it was a real shock to a lot of bead stores out there when the pandemic came around, and they had to pivot so quickly to doing things online. I think, we were already doing a lot online, so it wasn't a huge shocker for us. But
Right.
I watched it be a shock for a lot of people I really care about in the beading industry. And so I know it was probably really, really tough. Well, we're just
Yeah,
starting
I think
here
we
today, but not really. We've got a great project for you guys that Cassandra is going to show today. I have a couple of new things I wanted to pop on here. I'm back from vacation. I missed everybody last week while I was gone. I hope you liked some of the videos that I popped on Instagram and TikTok over the week. And I wanted to show you a couple of those designs really quickly. Let me just swap
can't wait.
cameras here, and we'll take a quick peek at this. So I made a bracelet, which I wore while I was in Phoenix quite a bit. It was kind of a perfect timing. These are new components from Tierra Cast. They come in a gold and a silver color. So you can get them in the two different metal tones. They also come in copper, but I didn't pick up the copper because it wasn't available when I ordered. But if you want them in copper, please let me know, and I will think about adding them onto our next order when they come available. And I made this bracelet, and then I wore these cute little earrings with it, because you can't just have a bracelet. You then have to have some matching earrings, right? So cute little turquoise melon drop and rondelle in check glass, and then another one of those tiara cast pieces that you can find in the shop. And Cassandra may have some of these components too. Do you have any of these tiara cast pieces?
I haven't placed my order for the new
The
line from the Tucson desert. Yeah, but I am loving them, and I love what you guys have done with them. The drops paired with those sets is so, I just really like the look of that. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. This was another design that popped onto TikTok and Instagram, and it has this sweet little longhorn charm at the bottom that also comes in the silver and the gold. And I just ordered, they'll be up next week, hopefully. These were also out of stock when I ordered last time. I ordered the buttons, which I'm really in love with. I was so sad when they were out of stock.
I don't know if you're a fan of the show Yellowstone, or if we have any Yellowstone fans out there.
I haven't watched it, but I always hear about it.
This whole series gives me such Yellowstone vibes. It's so awesome.
If that's what they were thinking of when they were making
it. I bet somebody in that company is 100% hooked on that show.
Feelers on the vibe out there. That show definitely interests me. I grew up in Montana. Is it based in like Yellowstone Park? Or I don't know. Where's the Yellowstone portion come into it?
Yellowstone is the name of the ranch that they're filming from. So it is out west. I am forgetting which state it's based in right now, but it is based on a ranch life, basically. But it's very dramatic. It's not for the faint of heart. If someone had a sensitive spirit or was sensitive to certain kinds of language, they might not want to watch the show. That'll be my.
I'm in.
I kind of gathered maybe. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be bothersome to you, Sarah, per se, but I want to, give fair warning to those out there that are watching live, because if I'm recommending it and then they go to watch it, they're like, oh my goodness, they just shot that person in the forehead in the first 5 seconds or something.
Oh no. Yeah, I think I can probably manage it. So one last thing before we jump into Cassandra's project today, which are those beautiful earrings that you can see in the top corner using soft flex beading wire, is the lapis. We just short stranded our lapis, and I retook the photos because our older photos were not doing justice to how gorgeous and amazing this lapis is. So we put all of our beads and gemstones on sale this week, 20% off, whether it was check glass or these beautiful lapis beads or lots of other gemstone beads and options. This is just 3 of the options. There's more. This was just what I nabbed while I was there yesterday. And then look what else I found.
Those are lovely.
This is a vintage ring that's going into our next live sale, and I took one. I saw it. I was like, I must have that. There's only 9 of them. So if you want one, our next live sale is 2 weeks from yesterday. And we'll have some vintage components, including this ring, but some other ones too. All right, I'm going to focus in on your hand cam here, and you can take it away.
Awesome. Okay, well, gosh, it's a hard act to follow, Sarah. Those pieces in that lapis are so beautiful. Oh, my word.
Sorry, I had to make it tricky.
Get one more light on us here. So this earring was born out of my general need for all things big and dangly hanging off of my ears. And although Thank you. Although the original design is, fairly substantial, I have a pair on, I think right now. So they don't hit even with the dangle, maybe halfway down my neck, which I know is not like everyone's jam, but it's definitely not, as big as it looks like it could be. And I really love that the bare wire on that heavy gauge soft flex wire is, I think that kind of helps visually to make it a little less heavy looking. So I think overall it's really, not a terrible size, even if you're not normally a big earring person, but you can leave off the biggest loop. And this one has like even a little bit different configuration of the beads, which I'll, share more about while we're actually stringing one of the larger ones. But it would be very, very easy to just size it down one for the sake of making a smaller, for some people, more manageable earring. So, and I will also say that in my first endeavor with these earrings, when I was working on them, I did not have my handy dandy bead ends for the cord, and they make all the difference. So if you guys are not sold on those yet, they are like definitely what you want to be working with.
Bead stoppers are super important.
Oh, they are like literally a game changer. So I could not agree more. Now, in addition to the heavy or 0.024 inch diameter wire, I am also working with a couple of head pins, and really any size that you prefer will do. I've got the, I'm like looking for the bead that's in my other hand. I do have a handful of different beads. We've used a lot of these tulips, which all of the check glass I'm using, I do have listed in our Etsy store if people are interested in those specific beads or colors. And then these drops are also listed by the pair on our Etsy store. But I also did some special bundles of our little baby daggers. So there's 5 strands per bundle for $25, which when you break it down to $5 a strand is a really good deal compared to what they tend to average. They're a really long strand, so you can get a couple of earrings out of each strand of the daggers too. And then I don't have any strands of my fire polish, but I'm also working with a 5mm fire polish. And on our website, those are in a bundle of 10, I believe 10 strands for $10. I think we broke it down to just $1 a strand. So, lots of variety for the fire polish. I split the baby daggers into a light and dark kind of color grouping. So I think both of these daggers happen to be in the lighter bundle, but I can confirm that if anybody is questioning their, life choices about those things. So let's see. We also are using the fantastic, and I have not used these for any other projects yet, but the 3x3mm crimp beads from Softflex I have in the copper and the sterling. And I haven't attempted it, but I don't believe there's any chance that 4 strands of this heavy Softflex would fit through a 2x2 crimp bead. So
yeah, 3x3s are great for this.
Yeah, I had somebody asking me about that, and I was like, I don't think you can do that because it doesn't seem like a possibility. So I think, in addition to all of those check glass beads, the only seed bead I'm using is a size 8 seed bead. And I've got, a couple different colors here from these samples, which also are available on our website. And you can search those by actually filtering for the size 8s in our seed bead listings. So as far as tools go, I've got a pair of flush cutters, a pair of chain nose pliers, a pair of round nose pliers, and then well, I'll smooth there until I dropped my pliers. A pair of the I think these are just the standard crimpers. That's what I've been using with the project, but maybe Sarah can educate us on if there's anything that she recommends with those 3x3 crimps.
Yeah, there is a pair of mighty crimping pliers, and they are for that size of crimp, and they work wonderfully. We'll send you a pair.
Oh gosh, well, that's not necessary. I will show you guys what silly things I'm doing with the regular ones anyways, and then you can tell everyone how they need to order your mighty crimpers, because that would make their lives so much easier.
I might even have a pair here. I'll get them out just in case.
Okay, awesome. So to make things easier, I do like to go ahead and create a wire wrap on top of my check glass before I do any of my stringing. I think having that ready to string onto your project is a lot easier than the reverse. So I'm bringing that wire up and over, just making a standard loop on the top, and I'm adjusting this a little bit because it got a little out of hand here. So there we go. So when you're making your loop ahead of time, you can go ahead and seal that loop off with your little wire nub there, and then trim that. And I like those flush cutters because you can get right in there and get a good cut on those. But of course, if yours are a little dull like mine, it doesn't snip it quite as cleanly. But
they dull so quickly.
Oh my goodness. You know, I've been using these for years, so I really can't complain at all. They have served their purpose.
They've held up for a long time.
Yeah. And then with my heavy beading wire from Softflex, I go ahead and cut about 20 inches or a little less. It seems like a lot, but these loops suck up a lot of your
We're not hearing you for some reason. Oh, there you go.
And because we have two colors of these crimps to work with, I really have enjoyed mixing my metals. So I am using I think it's the antique brass. Yeah, antique brass color here in the wire. And then I'm using my copper crimps with the 3x3 millimeter crimps. And I'm just gonna let those like sit on my wire. Oh, I'm sure Sarah can only imagine what fumble fingers I was trying to do this project without the bead stopper the first couple of times.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you.
And I'm going to get some of these little daggers out here. And you want a little pile of your seed beads. I'm going to clear some of these samples out of the way too. So I've got my size 8 seed beads, my dangle chuck glass bead, my daggers, which I'm definitely going to need more than that. I think maybe just a few more. And this color is so versatile. There's like all this variety in it. So I really love, I think, let me pull out this. It's very similar, if not the same, as what I used with these colors. So just to show like the versatility of, you know, what you can do with two different sets of beads, but the same dagger or something really similar.
You are excellent with colors.
So to start, I am going to be stringing the biggest loop first. I just like to work that direction. And I'm going to put 3 of my size 8s on. And then I'm going to add no fire polish in this strand. So those 5 millimeters are for later. But we're going to do every other one now with a dagger and a size 8. And then, those daggers are tiny. Don't let them fool you, though. They'll behave if you just kind of tell them what's what.
Cassandra, can you hear
And we're going to do this every other bead with the 8s and the daggers until we get 5 of those daggers on there. And I'll show you my reasoning for that particular count. So when I've got 5 daggers on there, and I started off with the 3, I leave a little space with 3 more of those size 8s because the way that I string the dangle on, you want to kind of push those daggers away in the background because your dangle is going to go on this middle loop. So I like having a little space there at the bottom loop so that my daggers show on both sides of that dangle. So that's, if we're getting down to the nitty gritty, after the 5 daggers with 1 8 between them, then I'm going to add 3 more 8s before I continue to do the every other bead between my daggers. Sorry, I'm bouncing my camera all around. It's either my hands are going to be kind of jittery because I'm not very steady-handed by nature, or I put my elbow on the table and seems to kind of bounce my equipment around a little bit.
Can you hear me okay?
And I also can't keep track. I have to look when I'm on camera almost every time I do my, oh goodness. Almost every time I do my an addition of a bead, I have to count again or, confirm. I can't keep track in my head while I'm talking to you guys. So hopefully that's not
Can everybody hear me?
Too weird, but
I don't think
okay. So here
can you hear me in the chat?
We've got the whole large loop strong. And what I do is I bring that down. And actually, I'm going to get my tape measure over here because I really want to give you guys an idea of the exact. So that largest loop is hitting at just shy of, let's see, is that really shy of 1.5 inches? Or nope, it's right about 1.5 inches. So do the tape measure on top. That's probably a little better. There we go. So yeah, that largest loop, for those of you that don't have samples to work from, you're going to want to pull that 1.5 inches. But once you make your first earring, I'll show you what I do, because I think, okay, yeah, I do not hear.
Do you hear me now, Cassandra?
If you're talking, Sarah, I just noticed
I don't think
that conversation there. Sorry.
That's okay. Just keep going.
I don't think I changed anything on my end. Shoot. You guys just let me know if I can do anything to help fix that.
Thank you, Thomas, for letting her know.
Something has muted somehow.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. I'll just be quiet over here.
So let me know if I should stop demoing. Otherwise, I'll keep demoing it for now. But so I'm taking my cord and going back through those crimp beads. So it's like if you're tying a knot, like you cross over the other direction, and that's gonna create your loop of beads. And then when you have that first earring you've already made, regardless of whether your work matches the size of my earrings or not, you want your work to match the first earring that you made. So you're going to pull and push on this wire until it lines up with your first earring. Oh, or tried to pull on the wrong piece of wire there. Okay, that looks close. And then once I get that size where I want it, which I'm just gonna confirm real quick here. I'm gonna clasp both of those. So this is the short end of the wire still with my bead stopper. And you can do them on the same rung of the stopper, or I've noticed that it holds really well too if you like spread them out between two different spots. So those are some tips from a newer bead stopper user. So then once you get that ring done, we're going to move on and we're going to be using some of our fire polish here. And sorry if you guys see me keep looking up at the camera. I'm just trying to make sure that I catch any messages from Sarah or those lovely folks working in the background to help us with our tech situation. So now we're going to add a size 8 and then a fire polish. And these are 5mm again. And then a size 8 and a dagger. And an 8 and a fire polish. This is like an every other thing. And this is the loop that we're working on, just so you guys can see the makeup of those beads. So we're going to end up with 3 fire polish on each side. There's 8s in between everything with daggers between 2 of the sets of fire polish, and then your drop will go right in the middle there. Well, Sarah, I hope I'm not talking over you too much on the live version of things, because it's kind of it's odd not hearing your sweet voice on my end. Oh. Okay, so this is the point when you've strung that sequence that you'll go ahead and string on your dangle. And then you'll repeat that back up the other side. I'm making a real mess of my seed beads, but they're kind of fun when they're all splayed out all over the tray. Of course, I did still short myself a couple of daggers. I always think it uses less than it does, maybe. I don't know. Okay. So we've got our size 8s in between all those fire polish and daggers. We're just going to keep spacing those out here. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. The weather here in Michigan's been pretty nice, so definitely enjoying some slightly warmer temps and little bits of sunshine. So a nice way to check your work is if you bend it in half and you've got like a mirror image. When you're working with a circle, sometimes it's harder to see that. So, and then you're going to take your wire and you're continuing to work in a circle. So we're going to go again from this side where our stopper's at and go the opposite direction like so. And with this strand, it's a little easier because you can kind of just gauge. You just want your beads to not hang exactly the same length. Your loop needs to be slightly smaller than the first loop. Loop 2 needs to be smaller than loop 1 and so on, but you don't want it to be so small that you don't get some good overlap. So kind of figuring out that perfect balance of your fire polish basically want to sit just inside of the first loop. And then that is obviously going to move around a little bit unless we take our handy bead stopper and we're going to have to move our crimp beads around so we can do this here. And refocus our efforts. And then I'm going to move that stopper over onto all 3 pieces of wire because we've got the 2 loops and then we've got our tail there. Is it a tail when it's non-stitching beads? That's what we call our thread in our bead weaving projects, is a tail end instead of the needle end. So the working end would be my needle end and my bead weaving. So I'm just pulling this back up so you guys can see I've got 3 of the size 8s to start, and then a fire polish, and 3 more size 8s. And then the dagger is going to be the center. So just one of those. And then we'll get a few more seed beads and a fire polish and the last seed beads on there. Okay, so I've got all of those beads on, and I'm going to take my wire through those crimp beads one last time. And I should point out, if you are like super into big dangly earrings, there's enough room in there. Like you could have made a bigger loop. I might have to play around with that because it's kind of tempting for me personally. So I am going to take that stopper off because it's going to kind of start to impede with the bead placement a little bit, because we're starting to get down to where we've got everything where we want it now. And I'll hold up our, yeah, we're pretty much there with the, I might tighten that second one just a touch, and then we'll see what I can pull on to make things sit just right there. But yeah, we're good. So in order to make space for the ear wire, now your first crimp, you don't have to worry about being like in the center because your beads will all shift to lay the correct direction. And if that doesn't make sense right now, don't worry. But there is a front and a back to these crimps. So you want your, I'm going to face that bigger side, the like U shape rather than the crimp shape. That U shape is going to face up. And that's going to be the front of my earring. So Margaret, are you, maybe Sarah will answer your question about the wire weaving. I'm guessing maybe that's not a question for me.
Sarah zoned out and was
or maybe it
trying
is.
but I will answer your
You guys
question.
maybe pop the chat in there if if that's a question for me.
Oh,
so,
I think you're asking if she
with
will
this
do wire
regular
weaving
crimp
tool,
when I use that bigger end that has the crimp piece facing the one direction and the U shape on the other side, we get this nice like oh gosh, what is this shape? This shape is like you've got some pieces sticking out and you do have an indentation on one side. So the bump out is the side that we want to use as our front. So wherever your first crimp falls, you just want to make sure that you place your second crimp. And I like to get mine inside the jaw of my pliers and then move it around without crimping until I get it in position. And then you just want to make sure pliers are facing the same direction they did the first time. And you want to leave like, gosh, maybe 1/8 of an inch. Because this space here is what your ear wire is going to sit in between. And then I use that very last space closest to the tip that has the mirrored U shapes, and I grab from the back side and crimp those. So on the copper, I will also share with you guys, it's a lot stiffer than the sterling is a lot softer. So what you see me doing here, you will probably need to do just a tiny bit of finessing with the sterling, and you probably also will have a much easier time if you're using the recommended Softflex tool for that part. The other thing you can do at this point is you can also take a pair of just chain nose or flat nose pliers and just give those like a good crimp and kind of flatten them just a touch. Basically just, you know, making sure everything's nice and sealed there. But making sure that the wire is laying relatively evenly on each side before you do your crimping. The position of those wires can affect how your earrings lay. So that's another little tip. But then all we're going to do is take our flush cutters in there and get right next to those crimps and pull that tight so that we can get a good clean. Oh. And your newer reserved flush cutters for this sort of thing would be an excellent choice in that situation, because you'll have some better success with that. So I feel like I should give Sarah some time to talk because I know I can't hear her. So Sarah, if you need to send me any messages in chat, you can, but that is all there is to it, other than just popping your ear wire on that center portion, which you do want to make sure that whatever kind of ear wire you're using, there is a an acceptable amount of space in your loop to accommodate those 4 strands in between your crimp beads. And then you guys just remember that just remember that the silver crimps are a lot softer than those copper.
Okay.
So
If Cassandra feels like she's
I
done,
am all set,
okay, I will
Sarah, and I will
start.
just go ahead and stop talking.
Okay, that sounds good. And then if you want to try to get unmuted, you can join us again and we can finish chit-chatting. But I will keep going here for the moment. So what a wonderful project that is from Cassandra. Let me flip down to my hand cam and I'll show you the mighty crimping pliers, which you can get from softflexcompany.com. But by all means, the way that Cassandra showed you how to use it too will work just fine as well. Let me just flip over here and we'll take a quick look. And then maybe in the meantime, Thomas can private message with Cassandra and see if they can get her unmuted so that she can hear me talking as well. So these crimping pliers are very similar to the regulars. They just have a bigger hole and a bigger crimper. And so they will fit that 3x3mm crimp tube really well. So for example, this is my big 3x3mm crimp tube. So it's 3mm wide by 3mm long. And they're really handy for doing multiple strands of soft flex, like you were just seeing Miss Cassandra do. Let me pull out some soft flex and cut some individual pieces. And I'll show you how it'll work with these crimping pliers. It's kind of the same thing. It's a little bigger, so it's easier, a little easier to grip on. So say I've got my 4 strands of soft flex. I string my 3x3mm crimp tube on, and then with that bigger tooth, I'll compress. I'll put like a nice big divot into it, and then the rounder can compress in and round it all out. So
Sarah,
pliers,
I am happy to say that I was able to put my mic or my earbud in from my other device, and I can hear you again.
Yay!
I just can't hear you on the phone that we were using the audio on to begin with, so I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I kept talking and I finally thought, I don't think she can hear me.
I'm so sorry. I definitely could not. And it just was like it happened at a natural break in the conversation, so I didn't notice at first.
Right. I know. Yeah, it was so funny. Well, thank you. I'm glad we're back and we can continue talking. So
Have an actual conversation.
I know. I just rounded it out and you can see it just gives it a nice round fit. And so these crimping pliers come in a micro for a 1x1, which is really tiny.
Ooh.
The regulars work with the 2x2, and then these mighty ones are intended for the 3x3s. But what Sandra did would work too. Like every beater has their own way of doing things and their own set of tools that they get by with. So if you have just the regular pair, then go for it. Don't feel like you have to have this pair of pliers in order to complete the project, because you clearly don't. But if you do want a pair of these, you can find them on the Softflex Company website too. So it's just another option. That's all things are options.
And is that a medium weight that you were stringing through?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
You could totally do the same thing with the heavy.
I just wondered, how many strands could we fit through the 3x3s with the medium weight?
I think we have a chart. Thomas can probably link to it. It shows,
of course, you have a chart.
How many diameters of each diameter will fit through each size crimp tube. We did it like years and years ago. So it's in our School of Design. I'm sure Thomas can probably find it and link to it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I went ahead and took that lapis apart because I wanted to see what it looked like with the little bit of gold in between, and it looks as amazing as I thought it would. This is what it looks like on the tanzanite wire, if you wanted to do a little bit of the tanzanite. And then I also wanted to look at it on purple. We chose to do the short strands of the lapis this month because we're doing the Supernova kit. And I thought some of you might really like this lapis to mix in with all of your Supernova beads that you're working with. Here's some of my leftover stash from that kit. So I think it could be a lot of fun to work with the purples and the tanzanite. This is one of the single beads, and I just made it into a sweet little pendant. You can hang it from like a nice long chain. You don't have to do a lot with it because it's so pretty, just all on its own.
You know, I've been cutting apart some strands of like larger coin and Baroque pearls that we have. And I feel like this is such a great opportunity for people who want, you know, something fabulous when it comes to stones, gemstones, but then don't want the price shock of like a 16-inch strand of giant chunky lapis. This is very kind of you guys.
Yeah, no, we've been doing a lot of it because it's nice to share the wealth amongst quite a few people. It's nice for me. I like to buy these things.
Right.
So if I can buy just this little shorter strand, it makes a whole lot more sense for me and my bead box as well, because I'm not mass producing, you know, wearable, the same thing over and over. You know,
exactly.
I like a little bit of a unique bead mixed with some other things. I was thinking how nice these are going to look. You know, when I bought it, I was thinking about all the celestial stuff going with the lapis, but I think that this Southwest materials could go with the lapis really nicely too.
Definitely. So, Southwest is not just for turquoise, right?
No, it's not. I think it could look really cool. Really pretty. So yeah, let me go back to all 4 screens. Here we go. There she is. She can hear us and everything.
And everything.
Hey, are you going on a bead cruise soon?
Oh my goodness. So this is my 3rd year getting to join the bead cruise that originally was run by Heather Powers for the last 15 years. And this year, Becky Haley's taking over the helm. But I'm so thrilled because I met Becky for the first time through the first cruise I went on in 2019. So fun fact, in 2020, sometime in February, I was getting off of a ship as there were literally ships being left and held in the harbors for a month or more because there were COVID outbreaks. And I just remember thinking like that could have been me and my mom stuck in a cabin in a cruise ship for a month together.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm so excited to be able to sail this year because we couldn't go last year. And I'm teaching a project and doing a pajama party for all the bead cruisers one night. And I'm just super excited about it. It's going to be such a blast. It's always fun.
How many days is it?
So it's a regular cruise ship. So we're on the Harmony of the Seas this year with Royal Caribbean. And it's almost always, I think, a full week. So like we set sail on the 20th, we get back on the 27th. So that day you get back doesn't count as like a cruise day because you're just, you know, trying to scoop all your stuff into your suitcase and get off the ship. But this year we're going to a couple of the Royal Caribbean islands, and then we'll be in Jamaica and the Bahamas 2 other days. So 4 stops. It's a busy schedule for what I'm used to when it comes to that event, but we'll have lots of fun.
So how many people go on the cruise? Like how many people are you expecting?
So the bead group is about 50, I think, usually. And there's, oh gosh, like half a dozen instructors or so. And then the ship itself, the Harmony of the Seas, I think is their largest class in the Royal Caribbean cruise line. So, I mean, thousands and thousands of people, I think. It's a lot of people, but they I never felt as claustrophobic as I thought I would, having not gotten on a ship until 2019. My first cruise, I was pleasantly surprised by how it feels like you're just in a normal, you know, city basically. And so you are with groups of people in smaller rooms at times, and then you're, you know, spread out in like the main part of the ship at other times, but you just feel like you're on like a, you know, kind of crowded city street or something. I don't know. It doesn't feel as weird as I thought it was going to.
Well, if you need a roomie, I'm inviting myself someday.
For future Bead Cruise dates, I will put a word in with the powers that be. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Sarah is ready to sign up.
I know beads in the Caribbean and cocktails and like endless amounts of delicious food. I really don't see a downside to this. So.
No. I just went on vacation with a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and we drove hours upon hours in the car, both directions. So going on a cruise by myself with beady people sounds like an amazing.
I don't know if you're allowed to call what you just did a vacation for yourself.
It wasn't. It's not. It's not at all. It's a vacation for the children, but at any rate, I would love to go with you sometime. So
someday, yes, let's do it.
Put my name in the hat. And how about all of you guys? Do you guys want to go on a bead cruise with me? Let's go.
Like, can we leave now?
Yeah, right? Sounds amazing. I agree.
I do want to answer Margaret's question from earlier because I didn't mean to ignore that. I didn't want to continue to talk over people.
Confusing what was going on.
So I love working with Softflex's craft wire and do all sorts of silly little, I say silly little because I am not a wire worker by like training, but I play around with it and know just enough to be dangerous. But yes, I do love to do wire weaving, and as often as Softflex will have me back, I will be happy to create fun projects with their fantastic supplies.
It sounds to me like I need to send you some mighty crimpers and some craft wire.
And I might need to send you a couple of fun beads that we've been playing with since you guys are so kind to host us.
Yeah, that would be great. I love getting to spend time with you. I hope you have the best time on the bead cruise. And is Heather going this year, or is it just Becky?
She's not. Heather had some conflicts, and so she is staying on dry land this year. But we'll miss her dearly. For all the people that I'm excited to see, it's going to be hard. She and I were roommates the first year I went and got into lots of trouble and fun together. So
she's so fun. She's great. Well, really give everybody a hug. I was going to say give Heather a hug, but if she won't be there, that's a little tricky.
Well, she and I only live about an hour and a half away from each other. So we actually do get to see each other on a semi-regular basis. And I feel beyond lucky for that. And I will give her a hug for you when I see her soon.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being with us. And we'll have to schedule a new date and think of some wire working projects that we can do together.
I am in. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I hope you have a wonderful night.
Are you doing a regular video time, or are you just popping on when you feel like you have the time?
So I don't have a regular time scheduled for every week on a certain day, but I do let people know ahead of time on our Facebook page when I'm going to be live.
Okay, so make sure you go to the Beads to Live By Facebook page. Make sure you like it, and then go to one of their videos and click to get notifications for videos. And that'll be the easiest and fastest way to find more videos from Cassandra. She is very talented. She has a lot of great ideas. You can also follow her on Instagram. That's where I hang out with her the most, is on Instagram. And she's got a great, very vibrant Instagram account as well, where you can see some of the fun things that she is up to. Hopefully you're posting pictures of the cruise so I can live vicariously through you. I'll be
Well, I've been feeling bad about it because there's people like, Heather that couldn't go or didn't decide to go this year, but I've had more people than not say,
pictures.
Please share. Like, I want your, like, the cocktail at the beginning of the, when you get settled and ready to go and all that. So, okay, I will share those things.
Yes, please share. We want to see everybody go follow on Instagram so you can see the pictures too. And of course, you can go to Cassandra's website to find a lot of the things that she was using today. It looked like it was beadstoliveby.com. Is that right?
That is our website. Yep. And then the check glass and some of our Softflex products are on our Etsy store, which is still just our handle at the end of shop. Yep.
Yeah, so you would just
on your
search
screen right now.
to Live By on Etsy to find them as well, which will get you to them. Perfect. Well, I think I covered all the bases, and I'm so glad you were here. This was very handy for me because, like I said, I just came back from vacation, and it was nice to have a very low pressure day on my return.
I'm so happy because I feel oppositely when I'm doing these things with other companies. I'm like, oh, what am I doing with the technology? So I'm glad it's relaxing for you.
No, I trust that everything will go well usually, and we get by somehow. So anyway, it was really nice to spend time with you. I'm going to go ahead and click off this. Thanks everybody for being here with us today. You can find more about Softflex at softflexcompany.com. And you can see all those great beads that I showed today are 20% off there through next Tuesday. All right. Bye, everybody.